Snobs Podcast.
It's empty, Gail.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Scene Snobs Podcast. I'm your host, Mick Manhattan, and my co-host, Paul, is not here. He is been super busy, killing it, and just working everything, and I miss him, and we weren't supposed to do these episodes. It's the problem, and it's my fault. It's my fault. I'm just addicted. I'm addicted to it, and I love doing this. I love the podcast, and I love being around it. But I miss him, miss being able to talk to him. But Sturdy is going to be here tonight, waiting on him, and we're going to have a really good time hanging out, just talking some stuff. We're going to talk the Oscars. I'm going to share my top moments and worst moments from the Oscars. I'm going to review The Monkey. But yeah, overall, I mean, we're coming back officially on the 18th. The only reason I'm doing this episode is because I need to cover a few gamuts. I needed to talk about the Oscars and stuff like that. And I wanted to talk about, of course, the Monkey, which I just saw. We're going to be reviewing that tonight as well. Let me pull up my list so I have it. But yeah, overall, it's just been a really fun time lately. No, that's not true. I have to be honest with you. It has not been a fun time lately. And I think we all know that collectively as human beings. It's been a pretty tough time. And actually talk to you for real before we start the comedy, when Sturdy gets here, but I hope you guys are all doing okay. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you listening each week. Just being a part of it. It's been tough here too. A lot of this stuff has affected, me and mine and people I know and people I care about. And, I had heard recently on a certain podcast by covering our wonderful government special advisor, but wonderful. He used the phrase. He said something about empathy is what's wrong with the world today. No, that's the only reason I bring that up is talk about empathy. I think is what empathy and compassion are what makes community and brings people together. Now, I doubt anybody who has a brain in their head listened to that and agreed with it. But yeah, I just want to pass that message on to you guys. I hope you're out there. I hope you're doing well. Take care of your mental health. If you're suffering from any part of anything that's going on right now, all the craziness and such, my heart goes out to you. And you and yours, and I truly hope it will be okay. We're going to keep trying to come back on here and, just doing what we can to entertain. Take your glasses off. I usually do that before the show, but I forget. We're going to do what we can to entertain, honestly. And it's tough. It really is. It can be a lot, very overwhelming at times with everything, and I'm finding as I talk to more and more people, it's harder to handle that overwhelming times. After the past 5 years, like every year since 2019, which was no picnic even before then, it's just been getting harder and harder. So I hope that this is the darkest before the dawn scenario for us as a society, as people, as a world. I will always hope for that. I will always push on the side of empathy, compassion, integrity, being there for each other. Even if it's just like, this isn't anything important, but I hope it entertains and maybe makes people forget some things for a while or think about things differently or just have some fun with some laughs. And it's just, I hope, on this beautiful Friday night with the weekend coming up and things are getting warmer. So I hope that helps a lot more people I know who are suffering with like a lot of blizzards, like last minute blizzards coming in, the cold front, stuff like that, but also the flooding. There's been some fires down in South Carolina, I think crossed into the North Carolina border. And my heart goes out to them. Like we just saw something so devastating in Los Angeles and now it's happening here. It's just wild, man. It's just wild. We got to care about each other. Or where are we? What are we with? Nothing. So I have been, for myself, to kind of keep my head going, I've been watching a lot of movies and writing. I think I talked about it earlier, or late last year. I started writing a screenplay, a friend of mine and I, for a feature, and now I'm a good few drafts into it. So I think I'm ready to see what I might do with it with the next step. It's a big deal for me. I've written screenplays before. I've been commissioned to do it. I've just done it on my own. I have treatments ready to go that I want to write after this. Now that I've just finally in fulfilling like that, like a void from me for a while for not writing. I'm finally being able to do that. So, I wrote the script, so it's doing well. Doing well as a script. Like I found very happy with it, and I may try to do something with it. I may try to make it. I'd be very excited to, because I've been a filmmaker, but I've never made anything that's my own. It wasn't mine. Like, I was a filmmaker basically for hire. Which was great, and I loved it. But, I'm getting older, and I want something on my own. So I've been thinking about possibly getting into it and doing it myself. But, but we're gonna see. We're gonna see how things go. It'll be it'll be ultra low budget, so it'll be interesting to see. But I think you guys would enjoy it. So I've been dipping my toe back in that, but I've been watching a lot of stuff too, because I've also been writing a lot of articles. I'm over on Substack now, and I'm doing my movie reviews on there, as well as like Letterboxd and such, and all the links are down below if you want to follow or anything. It's been interesting. A lot of movies, a lot of reviews. It's been so cathartic sort of to do that. But overall, like, when I really get into it, it's I've started writing, tying the movies into certain societal things happening. Like, I'll do a commentary. They're all opinion pieces, of course, but I'll do a commentary. Like, I just did one with what was it? I had talked about Captain America: Brave New World, and on the backdrop of DEI, stuff like that. I just did one for but I did another one where it was James Bond's, how ways that Amazon could ruin James Bond, which we also did a video for, and you can check that out as well. And I think it was on last week's podcast as well. Like, we just kind of went a little in depth on all, but I wrote it out as well. Another James Bond theory. Again, a bunch of stuff I'm cooking up on there. I'm working on something with Mr. Smith Goes to Washington right now. As if you've seen that movie, if you've seen that movie, I should say, then you probably know where my direction I'm headed with the article. So, I'm just trying to flex my muscles with that. It's been a long time since I kind of walked away from writing for a while, and so it's nice to get back into it. And it's been really nice to get creative with everything and sort of do that. But yeah, big reason why I want to do this week is I want to talk about the Oscars. I know I'm on record as saying I think the Oscars are bullshit. I think since probably more the late 70s, it's always sort of happened, like, Best Pictures or those top awards, not the technical awards, which is more along the lines of what I really appreciate when watching them. But the top awards of Best Director, Best Picture, Best Actors and such, they've always been bought in some way, shape, or form. Like, briberies of like baskets going to all the members' houses, stuff like that. So they've always sort of been bought, but it got more egregious in the 80s, like way more egregious. Like, I would argue so many of the Best Picture winners did not deserve it. I've seen them all, and so many did not deserve it. And that's why I can't get behind it, if that makes sense. I can't fully engulf myself in the Oscars anymore. The dream was, when I was a kid, like, I want to win one, that was about. And then, you get into it and you kind of see how it's made. You see how the dough is made and such, and you're like, I'm good. It's like, I don't really care about that as much. again, I was just talking about this with Sturdy earlier. It's like English Patient won Best Picture. That movie is terrible. Shakespeare in Love is not a Best Picture winner. Driving Miss Daisy. Yeah. That one still hurts my heart. That beat Do the Right Thing. It's like it kills me. Like Malcolm X got beaten out for Best Picture. We can all that's the one thing about the 90s versus now. Like it was always bought, but then the Oscars took a turn into this activism stage where everything, like it used to be like they would give it out to people they felt earned it. Like Al Pacino didn't win for Dog Day Afternoon, but he wins later for Scent of a Woman, which great movie, but I don't know that you'd win that for. That's very still a Pacino film. And then you have just all these different movies where it just seemed like they were trying to pay tribute to somebody down the line, and they still do that. Demi Moore was great in The Substance, but there were other performances that were better than hers. But I thought she, like, if you were going to give it to anyone, they gave it to the wrong person. But we'll get into all that. So the Oscars to me, like it always seems like sort of a bought or owed or this or this is who we want. I think Mikey Madison's the one right now they want to build up. And her winning an Oscar is going to get her a pay bump. It's going to put her in a new bracket towards getting roles and stuff. And I think a lot of that is a convenient. All right, let's build her up. And I think that's great. But I think she is an actor that didn't deserve it for the role she got it for. I don't think Anora deserved Best Picture. And yet, it kind of swept the night for a lot of things I don't think it deserved. Still a good movie. But I feel like it was a pick. Like it was like, all right, I think the Oscars just getting to a point where it's a melting pot of just activisms that they're trying to cover year to year. Like, okay, the black film is going to win this year. Okay. The LGBTQ film is going to win this year. And it is, they really do stereotype a lot about it and give out to whatever's the trending activism of that time. And there is no trending activism right now in this year. There's nothing like, I think they were going to go with more of the transgender route with Amelia Perez until you had all the controversy. And I even think they tried to redirect towards the Mexican side of it, and it just didn't work because that movie falls flat. I had to watch it afterwards to see how bad it was. That movie falls flat, just like everyone says. And it won awards it did not deserve. Like Zoe Saldana is a great actor. That was not a great role. I just have to say it. Like, that's just not a great role. And I was displeased with it. And the fact that it won so much. Because it doesn't have a tone. There is nothing. It's trying to be things. It's Oscar bait is really what it comes down to. I'm going to bring in my good buddy, Sturdy Bird.
Hello.
What's the word, Sturdy Bird?
Chilling, man. Chilling. Just got out of work, punched out. So now I'm just chilling.
Nice.
Weekend started now. The weekend finally started.
This is nice. Usually the Scene Snobs podcast on Tuesday nights, but like I said, we're off. And I feel bad again because like Paul has just been so busy, so he can't be here. And then I'm like, all right, but I still got to talk about the Oscars because I got to bitch about things. I think there's so much to argue over. But how you doing, good sir?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I do want to say this to everybody out there in the Scene Snobs. What's up? How's it going? Hope you're all doing well. But I'm just gonna tell you guys this for those of you who do follow Horror Research 30.
And you should.
Yes, and Popcorn and Pints. Just behind the scenes, we have some stuff that we were just discussing that I'm gonna tell you guys. I'm not gonna tell you guys what it was, but I'm gonna tell you guys how this shit always starts. One of us will come up with an idea for our own show, and we'll take that idea and somehow mix it in with each other's shows. And mix it in. Now the mix has been with this between the Scene Snobs, Popcorn and Pints, and Horror Research 30, one way or another. Where the Scene Snobs is always like in the middle because it's It can go the horror route. It can go the non-horror route.
Yeah,
And
I'm
then,
just more movies.
Yeah, and then like with you guys know how Popcorn and Pints works and how Scene Snobs works and how Horror Search 30 works. I mean, and it's never like it's not like forced. It's just like, yo, with the Bond thing, hey, I'm gonna do the Bond thing. Hey, and Mick was like, hey, is it cool if I do this connected with this? But not only that, if I chime in on this, I'm like, fuck yeah, go ahead. And now it's just like we're creating these wheels and like building these ideas off because we work together so well, work with each other so much that a lot of our ideas that we're building off of, something just sprouts and just like, yo, bink. Now here's what we can connect with these shows and help promoting each other without even, again, not in like a forced way. It's like, hey, we're doing this here. That we're just talking about, again, the way we're discussing Bond on Popcorn and Pints and the way Mick is discussing Bond on the Scene Snobs, completely different.
Yeah, and you can get something from both because, like, and I when I planned that, I loved it because I've been getting so into the Bond movies that we've been watching, and by the way, remind me when we're off screen. I want to show you the Bond performance from the Oscars. I thought it was interesting. Okay. I thought it was interesting because we've watched every Bond's like so far, like we watched all these Bond movies so far, and we're so into the franchise that we would appreciate that. I don't think a lot of the viewers cared. But for me, I was like, I thought it was cool. I just watched a load of Bond movies. I'm into this.
I was gonna say because we're watching it now, and I feel like we're watching it as a group one, and then going back to the franchises which we did last year.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. We watched it as a group, so like a lot of things that come up with those, we will pay more attention to because we just recently. It's like that recency bias kind of thing, and yeah, I do want to see that. But just be on the lookout, people, because there's gonna be some fun stuff coming up between these three shows and other shows that we fucks with. So I just want to throw that out there
for sure. Oh man, and you guys are gonna want to check that out because I may be curating some things over.
He is
Horror Search 30 and Popcorn and Pints. And
he is, and here's the funny thing with Mick, right? Here's what I love about Mick, but he's an asshole to himself. It's because we'll have these ideas, this, that, the third, then he'll be like, hey, is it cool if I curate this for the show? I'm like, yeah, you know what? Matter of fact, this is your month or this is your wheel. You do what you want if you want to do this. Then he'll add more shit to it. Is it okay? Listen, dude. And then 3 months down the line, yo, dude, I'm so fucking busy. I don't get it. I'm like, yo, you
stop taking it on.
Yo, it's like, yo, you already have your ideas for your show and you add more and more. Now you volunteered to freaking run Popcorn and Pies for the next 70 years.
Well, that's why I had to take a break. I had to take a break from the Scene Snobs for the first time ever because I didn't have topics. I had planned on topics that incorporated 3 people. Like, I don't script the shows. Like, whatever Paul says, whatever Dan says, or whatever you say, like, it's off the cuff. And I don't have a script of things I want to say, but I have a list of things I want to talk about or an itinerary to kind of direct towards. And, we talk about the topics beforehand. I planned out like 2 months worth of topics for like all the episodes where it's just the 3 of us. And I anticipated the episodes you're in to cover stuff that you have wanted to talk about on the show. So like and then March was supposed to be director's bracket month, but I want Dan to be a part of that because I was part of his idea too. And I want Paul to be able to be there. So, I was like, let me push it off till summer when Dan can come back in. And, Paul and I will just do other shows and you'll be in there too. But like, like we talked about so many ideas and I was like, and once Dan had to leave the show for a hiatus, which was very quick, but like, guys, he's insanely busy. So like, we can't wait to have him back. So like when he had to take the hiatus and it kind of worked out I was burnt out anyway. I mean, I was burnt out after the first week of inauguration week. I put these on for a second because I can't read things. But so it's just been kind of a mad dash. So like last episode we did, it was just because something happened that week and I wanted to kind of cover it. And then again with the Oscars this week. So like that, it's been nice to be breezy about things for a little while.
Yeah, I love having like a loose episode type of thing where it's more of like a we're gonna get to this and we're gonna get to this, but for the most part, we're just kind of just shooting the shit, flowing, having a good time, laughing.
Yeah,
and
it is
just
fun.
talking about the excitement that's coming up, which oh man, just from
You
again
can't
from our
say it.
conversation, I'm not going to because just from our conversation earlier, I'm just like, oh, it's gonna be so fun. I'm just gonna tell you guys this. The themes are sticking around, like the themes over on Horror Source 30, the big themes are sticking around, but there's gonna be some remixes to a lot of things. And as you guys know, how Sturtoween is always random, that's gonna stay random. But I have some ideas for it.
I can wait.
I have some ideas for it. It all ties into our discussion. All I'm gonna say is a wheel will be involved. Because there has to be a Sturtoween wheel. Even if the theme's already thrown together, a wheel has to be involved.
Why don't you but I don't what you could do is you could take movies that match up and put them both on the wheel and then just have and then
for when we're watching them. Yeah. That's what
I wouldn't put each individual movie like say like
Jaws versus Dracula.
Jaws versus Dracula, yeah, and then it's stuff like that. So like I was trying so hard to not allude to anything.
Yeah, just movies. But I mean, we could have just used an old one like Freddy versus Jason, like an old, one that we've done before. But I'm just thinking about it. So we would already have the matchups on the wheel because it's not like it's not I'll say this, it's not a franchise thing, so it's not like where you watch a movie matters. Mm-hmm. It's just okay, I got it. I have something. Actually, I'm going to send it to you in a private message so I don't forget.
Oh God. Maniac.
I think I already said it, but
this whole podcast is us talking about how we plan for podcasts. We are not podcast coaches, but you can pay us if you want to, and we'll help you. But yeah, like that we do. Like you got to plan out. Like I think if you are like just to kind of round this out, like I do think you have to plan out your shows for extended periods of time. You, sir, just take it to the wheel, which I love because it's a controlled chaos.
It's a mix though, because I do take it to the wheel, but those months are still themed out. It's just like, okay, so we're doing, besides like, of course, if we're doing franchises, like over right now we're doing Resident Evil versus Underworld. So there's no need for a wheel for that, but I announced it on my show, so I'll say it here. Next, after those are over, we're going to be going to animated horror movies. So then we're going to be throwing a wheel together for animated horror movies because why not? I know there's some out there.
You mean like
some animated?
What animated?
Like cartoon, like not live action.
I mean, I know there are animated. You know what I think it is? I'm like,
you're not.
What do you mean in terms of animated? Like, are you counting like Monster House?
Monster House is animated.
It is animated,
it's
but
good.
like that's really what I'm. Because my level is like,
I am, but I want to go more adult towards that. But
that's what I meant. Like, do you want?
I will be as far as shorts go, because I will be getting back to my shorts in the near future. As far as shorts go, if I was doing animated that month, I would do a mix of everything, like between what we're watching for the show and just, you know what I mean?
Dude, you need to come down to CFF this year because they're having an anime con and CFF the same week.
Listen, man, if I could, I would.
Okay, so you got stop motion, you got Mad God, you got Monster House. I love Paranorman, Coraline, Frankenweenie.
There's a lot.
I just didn't know I know you want more adult oriented. Like the Corpse Bride is good. 9. I never saw that though.
Like so for a lot of those movies you mentioned, I'll probably do more for the most part, not all, because there's a couple that I have like stop motion. Me and James did. That's one of the movies. Spoiler alert. That's gonna be dropped on the free Patreons here over on Horror Research 30 when I get that built up. But we did a few of those. We did a few stop motion movies, and we did a few. I'll tell you behind the scenes. We did. I think we did like 6 episodes.
You got the Haunted World of El Super Beasto, which was, I think that was made by Rob Zombie.
That sounds so familiar. or somebody wanted me to review that. I forgot what, but anyways, what I'm getting at is, the wheels, the themes they're gonna have some more depth to them with the themes, with the wheels, with the themes, and all this other stuff. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
I think he's pulling your leg. I don't think you should. You know what? Just write to your congressman and say, stop horror or sturdy at all costs. This is,
you know what?
ridiculous.
I agree with that, because what
do you want fame for?
They're like, why the hell should this be stopped? And they're gonna be like, oh, we should watch more of this. This will bring us together. This guy right here, him and his horror movies, talking this crazy shit.
I love it. Listen, it's fun. Why not, right?
So, Mick, you know me well, right? You know how I enjoy movies. The movie The Monkey. How would I feel about that?
Well, I'll tell you what, Sturdy. I'll tell you what, Sturdy. That's a great point. So let's get into our review. I'm going to tell you exactly how you should feel about it right now. That's how you should feel about it. I gave it a 1 out of 5. And now I'm not trying to be mean or shit on this, but I'm sorry. I have looked back and I have seen all of Oz Perkins' directed works. I didn't know the first 3, the original 3, like Gretel, Hansel, things like that. Like I didn't know they were his. I guess I just didn't pay attention to the name, but like it was Longlegs that turned me on to the name Oz Perkins and the fact that he was Anthony Perkins' son. I did not like I don't like anything he's done. They're beautiful. Mm-hmm. I don't think they're good stories. They're like The Monkey for me is a horror comedy that is beautiful. He knows how to shoot the hell out of a movie. And he has a great cinematographer helping him along the way. The special effects, those 2 things are what got at the point. Like the special effects, the practical effects are great in this movie. There's some great death scenes, but there's like very little built in. Like at first, the actors, like you have this great supporting cast supporting this Theo James actor, whom I liked in other stuff, but like it's not a strong actor. It's not like I'm watching like a Rob Pattinson, like who maybe has taken the role or something like that. Like Elijah Wood's in this movie, and that's where you see that disparity. Okay. You know, you put like really good actors like Tatiana Maslany, who she played She-Hulk, and she was also on Orphan Black, the original Orphan Black, not the one they kind of redid with Kristen Ritter, which I haven't seen, so I'm not judging. But she was great in those, and she was good in this as the mom. Adam Scott was funny as the dad, you know. And I'm not going to give anything away about what happens here, there, where, or what. But all of these characters are in it for too short a period. And now you may think that's like, oh, they died. That's I purposely said 2 characters that had very different fates, you know. But Theo James in this isn't as strong of an actor, and when he's working against somebody like Elijah Wood, you see that, you know. And Elijah Wood's playing a crazy character in the movie, like this crazy stepdad who kind of oversteps too much. And he's doing such an interesting job. Like he's adding to the horror elements to it, but then he's gone in like 30 seconds. And again, I'm not giving anything away because all the fates are very different in this movie. So, and it doesn't always mean death. So it's very interesting kind of how they play out, but Theo James is the main focus. Even when he's acting against the kid who's playing his son, it just isn't like the son is a better actor. So, and he's playing twins in the movie. So he's pulling double duty starring in this movie, and it's already disjointed. The story just doesn't really mesh well, in my opinion. Like it seems like it's more to try and hit on certain comedy elements, and those comedy elements are all the deaths. And it's like, I don't need that. You start building up this lore of the monkey. Like somebody's like, no, if it does this, then it won't happen, or this. And there's like things that are being said where they believe it. And then it just breaks that. And there's no explanation as to what the monkey is or where it comes from. And I understand the idea of, you know, the suspense of it or just the mystery, but that's weak. That is weak. You have to at least give us something that's a little more concrete, something that flows in the story. this doesn't do that. This just is like monkey here. When monkey beat drum, people die. Who dies? Everyone or no one. Like literally, and no one. I know that's confusing, and I do think people should check it out if they're horror fans of practical effects.
Okay, which I am.
It's very gory, but in a delightful way, because it's trying to be comedic. And I hate to say that meanly, but the comedic timing doesn't work for me.
That's fair though.
And that's why I got a 1. Like, it's just, he is, you know, I don't know. I've said this about a couple of other directors and horror directors, that Ari Aster, Rob Zombie. I've said this countless times if you listen to this podcast. And that is, they have great premises to movies. Oz Perkins has a great premise to a movie. This is based on a Stephen King book, but he changed it up a bit. You know, not like in a crazy manner or anything, but like it is a crazier version. You know, Stephen King didn't have these elaborate deaths, and like there's a little more depth to it. And it's a short story. Yeah. I mean, I did read it when I was like 12. So Graveyard Shifts I read a long time ago. So I don't remember it perfectly, but it wasn't this, you know.
So,
and that's the crazy part of it. Like,
quick question then. Would
you had something.
If somebody else were to do this, let's say a newer director, I don't want to say newer because I don't know how long this man's been directing before. I have a name in the back of my mind, but I have an answer to my question. But who would you have direct this same movie? Sorry, but in someone else's hands.
All right. That's a great question. And like, this movie has never been made before. There is a movie from the 80s called Monkey Shines, and I think a lot of people are going to try and connect those. And just to let you know, Monkey Shines different. There's a cymbals beating monkey in this, and that same cymbals beating monkey is on the cover of the Monkey short story. And so you may get that mixed up. This has a drum because licensing rights. This is very different. Like, the Disney owns the cymbal drums or something, and so that's why they use the regular drums in this. But in Stephen King's book, it was the cymbal drums that was doing it.
See,
but to add to that, the Monkey Shines movie from the 80s isn't based on the monkey. It's based on a book called Monkey Shines, and it may have the cymbals monkey on it, but it's a real monkey in the movie.
I gotta see
that. So just to get that out of the way, to not confuse anyone, this is based on the Stephen King short story. It's different from like what you might think. I think this is a stupid concept. It's not a great concept in the book either. It's just Stephen King wrote it, and it's got some good writing to it. It's a toy monkey that in this bangs its drum and somebody dies in some crazy, like, MacGyverish way that somebody like that. It's basically Final Destination. Like, the monkey beats the drum and Final Destination happens.
Okay.
And but the difference there, again, going back to praise the practical effects in this movie, whereas you watch Final Destination, it's all fucking outlandish. Excuse me. It's all outlandish in how it does things. With the VFX, blood and all that stuff, and how crazy. This is actually done with practical effects that look cool. You know, and
check it out.
So yeah, I think it's worth that. But for me, it's a 1. I'm never going to watch it again. Like, I think this is a stupid concept of having just some mystic. It's a stupid concept if there's no fun backstory to it. If you don't give me a lore to this monkey and why, when he beats his drum, it seems like the world is ending everywhere, I don't care. It had the same sort of feel as Knock on the Cabin Door, that M. Night Shyamalan.
I don't think I've seen that one, but
or even like The Watchers, like his daughter did that one. It's that same, like, you don't really get a resolution out of it.
Yeah,
you know how it ends. It is what it is, but you don't really get a resolution, and it's just kind of annoying.
Okay. Okay.
And that's why I got a 1.
The cover's pretty damn cool, man. That's
It is cool. The monkey looks awesome, and the comedy. There's certain comedy parts where the deaths happen that it does play, but it isn't perfectly timed. So I think, like, for me, Oz Perkins might want to like work with a writer. I'm not saying not write. Like Rob Zombie, I think should be in the writer's room. Ari Aster should be in the writer's room, and so I think Oz Perkins should find a writing partner he trusts. That when he's like, I want to get to this, and this, and I think that will look cool, and he's got his director brain on, he's got a writer there being like, well, we got to cross the bridge, like how do we get there?
Okay.
And then add to that, because that's the elements that we're missing in this movie, in the story. So, but I appreciate you guys watching this, whether you're watching it, listening to it, or watching as a clip. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
And, let's get on to our final segment. Well, actually, not our final segment, but the last one's pretty quick. Top 5 countdown moments at the Academy Awards this year, 2025, the 97th annual Academy Awards. I railed against the Academy Awards a little bit earlier. I'm going to talk about my best and worst moments here with my buddy Sturdy. And let's get started with number 5. Okay, so my top 5, my number 5 is best moment is Nick Offerman. Nick Offerman was the voice this year, and I think that man should be the voice of a lot more stuff. He played Ron Swanson on Parks and Rec. He's been in tons of other stuff. He just has a naturally charming gravitas towards his voice. Oh, you remember him from The Last of Us. He played, I think he was Bill with Bill and Frank. He was the one that set all the traps and such.
Okay.
Yeah. So like his voice just has that natural gravitas to it that like you get from a Morgan Freeman or, the other actors that have done that in the past, like
damn near from a Troy.
Dennis Haysbert is probably one that has that voice too. James Earl Jones, Troy has the ultimate one, and Troy Hill talks. Trust us.
Wait till he's about 75 years old.
That's true.
He'll read you a book, put you right to bed.
Oh my God, I'm ready. So that's my best moment. My number 5 worst moment is no love for the Wild Robot. First of all, Flow. I still have to check out Flow. I'm getting ready to watch Flow with Jack this weekend, so it's gonna be fun. But the Wild Robot had one of the best songs, and the one that won best song maybe didn't deserve it. I don't know. I didn't see everything. I didn't listen to every song, but I know the one that did win it didn't deserve it. And Kiss the Sky from Wild Robot was a really nice song. So I was cheering for that. And Wild Robot was just a genuinely really good movie and deserved a lot more credit. So no love for Wild Robot. That was my number 5 worst. Number 4 best moment. Let me tell you something. James Bond tribute. They did a tribute to Barbara Broccoli and Michael G. Wilson. I believe the names of the producers who took over for Albert Broccoli and Saltzman, Harry Saltzman. So I guess I don't know if this was planned. I don't know if this was something. Well, I'm sure it was planned, but like I don't know if it was something like they knew the sale of James Bond to Amazon was going to come through, and maybe this was like Amazon's way or the Academy's way or something of saying, okay, we're going to celebrate James Bond. We didn't do it at the 50th. They just sold it off after all these years. Let's celebrate what was. A lot of people have complained about it. Now, the people who complained about the James Bond tribute are passive movie fans. They're addicted to the glitz and glamour side of it. They're the ones that I just can't stand. And the reason I say that is because James Bond is very much an integral part of film history. It definitely is. It's one, and I'm not saying it's the most important franchise or anything like that, but it is an integral part. It inspired things in pop culture, stuff like that. Like these movies are famously known, and within the world of the film industry, they're very well respected because they're money. They get the money, and they're timelessly remembered and have been going on for so long. And the reason I get mad at the people who are like, well, why do we need this at the Oscars? It's like, because you don't understand film history. You don't understand how important that is. And at the Academy Awards, we should be celebrating these things that are important, that they desperately don't even do. Like I talked about The English Patient, winning and stuff earlier. And it's like all these movies, like Driving Miss Daisy, beating Do the Right Thing. It's like, are you insane? Like you're not celebrating movies. You're not celebrating the best. You might as well become a cabinet member because you have no merit in this place. Sorry, I had to go a little crazy with that one.
And what's funny about the whole Bond thing, just how it lined up with us over on Popcorn and Pints discussing Bond, because I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. As far as Bond going on Amazon, if we weren't talking about it on Popcorn and Pints, I wouldn't have paid any mind to it. I wouldn't have paid any mind to it because
I would have, because I did like the tradition. I knew that they were, but like I wouldn't have been as invested now that I've seen every one of them and I learned everything I could. You're absolutely right. Like it wouldn't have been that deep to me. I probably would have been like, yeah, that makes sense.
I'm happy that we are discussing it. Like we're reviewing these movies while this is going on. Like I'm happy we do. Like I'll put it to you like this. I'm happy we did Bond this year and not last year. Like imagine if we did the Star Wars Star Trek thing and then this Bond shit comes out. It's like we would have brought it up, but it's like we wouldn't have went in depth with it or really cared as much. It's like we talked about that shit last year. Who the fuck cares now? So
it is, and watching this, and that's why it's my number 4, the James Bond tribute, is because they sang like Diamonds Are Forever. I think Doja Cat sang that one, and they had the beautiful dance around. Like they sang they did the original as a dance, and it was just very well done. Like the whole thing was well produced. Yeah. I think I cannot remember all the singers' names. I didn't know them. They're all new, younger singers, and I completely get it. I know I've heard of Doja Cat before, but younger singers, I don't know the names, so excuse me. But they were singing like Skyfall and like just these great songs. Live and Let Die, what they sang, and it was just and there's a beautiful choreographed dancing, beautiful imagery and stuff. So like as a Bond fan. And as a movie fan, I appreciated that. I was like, this is a celebration of movies. This is something that within the movie history is just like it's like ingratiated in our minds. Everybody knows who James Bond is. We all get it where it comes from, even from the parodies. So that's why I loved it. It was I thought they did a great job.
I agree with you. Like it's super important. I mean, just from the few explosions you've seen in these films, I just automatically think, we're getting towards the 80s. We're getting towards the 80s when explosions. And I know we had this conversation off air, but I want to say this on air. Explosions from the 80s are the greatest of all time. They will never be topped. Visually, yes. Even making it more realistic, yes. As far as the ridiculousness, as far as like the oh shit excitement, no. Because the 80s blew up anything and everything from like
there's so many explosions.
Damn near your two-wheeler bike just grazing a car and boom.
Dude, you know what messes me up is when I think, and to kind of get off topic for a few here, but whatever. There's so many explosions in movies. Like I have to think that explosions somehow damage Earth in some way, right? Like if I set off a firework while my hand is open, and we heard this in Armageddon, like it's gonna burn your hand, right? But you're not, but if you close it, it's gonna blow it up. So we're basically just setting off fireworks on Earth's hand all the time, and movies do it the most. I'm surprised she's been as kind to us as she has.
Well, she's been warning our dumbasses for years.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, imagine if we would have just listened. Imagine if we would have just listened from day one and just like all got along, living off the land, how everything would be.
It's a good thing.
We'd be the healthiest creatures in the world. Figuring out ways to communicate and fuck. We'd be doing that.
I know, dude.
But we wouldn't have all this, but we'd probably be better here and here as people.
We'll see, man. We'll see what happens one day. I want my Star Trek future. And that's the beautiful part about movies, and that's why I love that. And I want to see them do it and celebrate Star Trek one day and do more of this. I don't care what people say. For the movie fans, do more of this where like you're celebrating those storied things. Like I would have loved it too if they did something, because they were so big in the Wicked, and I'll get into that in a bit, but like like do a choreographed thing about the Wizard of Oz to the music.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like that, or I just appreciate when they appreciate movies, not bullshit actors and stuff like that. The celebrities that are there to kiss their own asses, the directors that are there to kiss their own asses. I appreciate all the technical awards. You still don't have stunts though, and they deserve it. God, they deserve it. I could rally against this forever, but anyway, James Bond, they did do a good job. I thought that was a good choice, and I doubt they'll keep doing stuff like that next year because there's probably blowback from Kim Kardashian or something. But my number 4 worst moment, no love for horror. No love for horror. Yes, there were some pickups, but truly, like, why wasn't Nosferatu up for Best Picture? That's BS, and we know it. And I know the list, and it should have been. The substance in Nosferatu were, of course, unevenly distributed, and like they got certain categories, and they got certain categories, and never the two shall meet, because they hate horror at the Academy Awards, and that's why that is my number. Oh, yeah, my number 4. I didn't switch the thing. That's my number 4. I've been talking too much. All right, let's go to my number 3. Number 3, best moment. The showcase presentations. Like when they had they would have like the styles and designs from the costumers on there. They would show certain things within the world of other imagery, like the visual effects and stuff like that, which I feel is so important. We should be showcasing this amazing work. That is what we need to be showcasing, like having the actors from the films or having people come out and talk about them. It's important, and we don't do it enough. We blow hard on celebrity bullshit, but whatever. Get rid of that red carpet and add stunts and other great below the line. Nobody needs that stuff. Well, some people need that stuff, but I don't need it. And number 3, my worst moment is Amelia. Like when that woman just kept singing. That song did not deserve the best song. It like hurts my heart to say that one best song. It didn't deserve it. And there's some really good ones on there. I'm not saying it had to be Kiss the Sky from The Wild Robot. I just wish The Wild Robot had gotten a proper amount of love because it was a great animated film.
Mm-hmm.
And in my personal opinion, and I loved Inside Out too, I think it was the best animated film of last year. But I haven't seen Flow yet, so I'm kind of back off of saying that. But I did love The Wild Robot. So going back to my number 3 with the worst is when she sang that and she would not shut up. Like her partners were telling her to be quiet. And it was just like, and what pissed me off is like that movie is so tone deaf into all the causes that it's trying to rope in. Like a French director who didn't shoot a film based in Mexico that tells the story of Mexican people. He shot it in France.
That doesn't even make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. But it's because you're baiting for Oscar. And it just sucks. And like they're both up there. And then I think they even asked him, they're like, with everything going on with trans rights, it being infringed upon and such, how do you feel? Like, how come you didn't share anything with the wins or whatever? And I think it was some innocuous answer that was like, well, if we had one more, we would have. Like, so you can't speak out unless you get the award you want. Like, get out of here. And I hate that because they do that too because they're so pompous and full of themselves. But whatever, I can go on days for days with that. But it was just a really stupid and tone deaf moment where it seemed like it was either drunkenly or just spitefully done. And you don't need that shit. Like, good luck. Go kick rocks. Like, I'm trying to enjoy a show, not you. And we're getting to when we get to my number 1, you'll see why. But all right, number 2. My number 2 best moment was Defying Gravity. Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande was there. She was there. She sang. She got some pipes, but it was really Cynthia Erivo like kicked ass, and they did the whole like presentation. She sang the song, and it was really powerful. She did a great job. Like, whether you like that movie or not, it's a great song. Also didn't win best song. They had it there. It's one of the top moments in the Oscars this year, and somehow somebody voted for the Amelia one. Oh Anyway, my number 2 worst is servicing another cause. It's just that's all it is. Like so they have so many causes all the time, like, and they'll add these movies in that are good, but they're not memorable. And I do think that memorable movies should be on there.
I agree.
You know? Like Nickel Boys was a great movie and is a great black film and is a great black story that needs to be told. But do you think they didn't put it on there because it's a black film? And if the style in this year was like when Black Lives Matter came out, what won? You know, like what was the big activism of that year trying to
I see what you're saying.
So that's where it's pandering, and I hate pandering. Yeah. Don't pander to anybody. You can make a movie for the audience, but tell the story you want to tell. Mm-hmm. And I attribute that to the Oscars. It's like black people who are watching this already feel underrepresented by you because you're doing it wrong. Because you're like giving it to movies that you think are on the level of like Malcolm X or Do the Right Thing or other amazing black films in the past that you snubbed and paid no attention to, but then you're giving it to good art house films, but not powerful performances. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, if you really want to celebrate a great black performance, how about Denzel Washington, which was the best part of Gladiator 2? Literally, in a movie where they put boats in the Coliseum, the best part was anything that Denzel showed up in. And if you can have that powerful a movie and that movie did really well, how the hell aren't you celebrating that? But you don't want to celebrate mainstream. That's not what you want. You want to be art house. You want your cake and eat it too. I hate the Oscars, man. See why I get so pissed off? That's just, and it's the servicing of another. So, and that's what will happen. So like this year it was sex workers. That was the activist. And again, I don't mind. I don't think this was a best picture winner. Nora, but you serviced that activism because you're scattered all over the place and you don't know what activism to go with. But what about next year if there's a sex worker positive movie that is truly the best picture, but you know maybe the Latino community is with immigration and stuff, say like there's a big activism going on right now, or veterans or whatever else, like all this stuff. And that's what's trending. Are you not going to give it to the best movie?
No, I see.
So that's where I come from with the Oscars. It's like you're supposed to be the best.
Here's my thing with the award shows and ceremonies and all that shit. It should be about the creators and all that, yes, as far as giving them the awards. But as far as the show that you're televising, should be about the fans. Make it entertaining. And as far as about the fans, it's like, what the fuck did the fans really go to see? I don't give a shit I don't care what the top people, what all them, whoever votes on the Oscars. No, what did the fans go see? What are the fans' comments? What are the fans talking about? Because those are the people that I think we're the ones that really count. We're the ones that are spending our hard-earned money to go see these movies, and then for the ones that, I'm not even saying just podcasters, but for the ones that do podcasts, do vlogs, do blogs, do all that shit. Why not pull from that? You'll get just think of how much more people would tune into this shit. And then on top of that, like you're always saying, don't just give it to the actors and actresses on the big screen. No, bring up the director, bring up the producer, bring up the cameraman, I'm sorry, I don't know because I don't know anything about that.
No, you're good, man. You're good.
Bring up the crew. I'll say bring up the team, bring up the squad. Everybody that had a part of that movie, bring them all up because they all deserve that. It's just like with sports, when you see the teams, they bring up everybody from the coaches to the water boy because everybody was a part of that in one way or another. And no matter how big or how small, everybody was a part of that. Everybody deserves that recognition. And I know you were saying they have some for some of the crew, but it should be on the big stage. It should be in front of it. When you're calling up a Will Smith, you should be calling up, I'll just use you, for Mick Manhattan for whatever he did on a film. Mm-hmm. And then,
well, yeah, like I said earlier, like
just because I feel like they all deserve it. They all deserve it. Even if you just name, and again, I'll just keep saying the crew, but like different, like say if there's, I don't know how many cameramen or lighting people there are, but say if there's like a head guy for each, I don't know. Say if you name like the head guy and his crew.
Well, cinematographer will cover that because he covered lighting and camera.
But you know what I mean, like shouting them out, and just
I don't even think they shouted out. First off, they didn't shout out the technical awards this year, unless I missed it. But I watched the whole thing from beginning to end, and I didn't like go to the bathroom or anything. Like I paused if I got up. I don't remember seeing it, so if it was there, forgive me. But it was bothersome to not see that because I do like that. I don't remember seeing the Cecil B. DeMille Award, which is always given out. Which I think they started doing it on the technical nights now, like where they can give their speech, and then they used to do it at the main award show where they would bring them out and be like they won. It bothers me that they don't even do these things anymore.
And then, like anybody who does any type of stunts, those people amaze the hell out of me. I'd rather see them walk on stage than Will Smith. No disrespect, unless it's an actor that does their own stunts, of course. But I mean, the guys and the people that are putting their bodies on the line for these cool ass scenes that we see, and it looks like it's, so and so doing it, and it's not. Bring them up on stage, for this scene here, where this motherfucker did 16 backflips and jumped off this building into this pool. Bring up Smash. He did it at 45 years old. A lot of it was CGI because he fell off the ladder, but bring him up because he put his body through this.
Listen, that man deserves a Snobby Award. In fact, he's going to win the only Snobby Award this year. The Snobby Award for Best Pratfall.
Best stunt.
And
best and worst stunt. Give him 2.
But like going back and like we were talking about it and like looking at, I wanted to see what year Black Panther was. It was 2018, I think. It came out in 2018. So it was the 2019 award show. Now 2019, I think we all remember, George Floyd, Black Lives Matter, things like that. And here's where I say like it bugs me. There were other things, of course. There was things with immigration. They were locking up families in these old warehouses and stuff. So like Roma was nominated. Roma's a good movie. I don't think it's a Best Picture winner. It should be up for cinematography, and it should be up for a screenplay, because if you did it by merit, like those were the things that were great about it. But like Best Picture encompasses all, in my opinion. And when I look at these, then you have A Star Is Born. That's a good one and encompasses a good movie. There's no real activism to it. There's like a suicide awareness to it. But it's just like, but Vice now is like taking shots at the Republican Party because it was about Dick Cheney, and that was, Trump was in first term. But then you have like Bohemian Rhapsody was just dog shit. I don't know. Don't even get me started on that. I can go on all day on that. But then you have Black Klansman, which is a great Spike Lee movie, and I see why that was nominated. Then you have Black Panther, and then you have Green Book, and Green Book won. What movie are you going to revisit over and over again?
I'm gonna go back to Black Panther again.
Yeah, that's the number 1 movie on this list, besides A Star Is Born. I would say it was number 2 at movies that you're going to revisit probably, but mostly Black Panther's number 1, like by far. That's
my favorite Marvel movie. That's such a good ass movie, such a deep movie, such a powerful.
It's the only Marvel movie that's worth getting a Best Picture, in my opinion. Now, Angela Bassett deserves, Jesus. But Green Book, good movie, art house movie. It was fun. It's a white savior movie. So like we have Black Klansman, which is a Spike Lee movie. So if you're trying to give it for activism's sake, why wouldn't you give it there first? But Black Panther deserves it for being Best Picture, for being the actual Best Picture, and you give it to Green Book, which is white people saving the black man. So like that's what I mean about the Oscars. I'm sorry if I'm pontificating in this top 5 show, or even if you're watching as a clip, but it is a podcast. I don't care. It's true though. Like to me, it's like, and I draw back to those things because if you watch every year, it's the same thing. I think they were counting on Amelia Perez this year, but it didn't work because people saw it and they were like, "No, you're not doing that."
And That actually brings me to I have an interesting question to ask you. Now, if they did it in like, you know how film fests work. So if they did it in like a film fest style where the fans vote, you know, like the online film fest work, where you're not watching the movies online, you're going to the theaters and watching them, but all the voting and comments are online. Very similar to where you pick your number rating, all that, and you jump your comments in there.
Mm-hmm.
Would that make a better Oscar? Like with the ratings and this X amount of movies you have to watch, all that stuff. But would that make a better Oscars for you? You think, as far as like what movies won?
No, because like you can do that with the People's Choice Awards.
No. But let's say it's an act. It's just up to the people. Nobody else but the people.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do it because like now think about this. Yes, horror would get more respect.
You still have to, I guess you have more of a criteria to it.
And I think it deserves but I think anything that goes into the Academy Awards should be criterion worthy. Now I'm not saying that only Academy Awards films should become criterion. I'm saying that if you are nominated for an Academy Award, especially for Best Picture, or you're an actor or director, it better be a criterion worthy performance or or film. And I think that should be the bar of what. And I don't care if anybody thinks that Criterion does collect a great amalgamation of films from all over, and it celebrates film as it is. And I have to respect that because that's something that speaks to me, because I can walk into the Criterion closet and find things that I'm going to love. And I'm going to find things I'm going to be surprised by. And they're always going to be there. Like, and they don't just like, if there's a driving Miss Daisy Criterion, then prove me wrong. But I don't think there is. And I don't think there will be, because they know what they're doing. Unless they've just abided by making all of the Best Picture winners. But don't do that. I've seen them all. Don't do that. There's some bad ones. I
don't know how many I've seen, but I've seen one in recent memory, and that was, I don't even know what came out that year. What came out that year? What was nominated that year?
Which year?
For The English Patient.
I think that was 97, so it was around 98. So like many different things. I think 7 actually came out that year, if I'm correct.
I need to watch that damn movie. I have yet to watch 7.
I can find out for you, because it
just
was
just because it's like, and that's what bothers me about it. It's like, how did that movie win?
So you were now wait, which movie again? Because now I'm looking at a list of movies, so I want to make sure I don't mess up.
The English Patient.
The English Patient, that's what it was. Yeah. I'm looking to see. Yeah, this is the year. So let me find the Best Picture winner, because what else was up in the Best Pictures? Okay. So yeah, The English Patient won. Fargo, right there. I don't know about Jerry Maguire being one. Secrets and Lies. I don't remember that one. And Shine was good, but again, Fargo. I don't know. Like if you talk to any cinephile about this list, they're going to be like, "Oh, exactly like I just said." They might like Secrets and Lies. I'd have to look it up, but it's not something that sticks out to me, so I don't think it was something great. But The English Patient won over Fargo.
I got to see Fargo now, man.
You've got to see Fargo. It's so good. It's a Coen Brothers film, and honestly, it's one of their best. There's a TV show about Fargo. It is inspired a TV show that's on like 7 seasons. Like, and it's so good, and each season gets better and better because it's just different.
Check this movie out.
It's so good. Like, Chris Rock was the star of one of the seasons.
Nice.
They did like a Jewish mob versus the black mob, and like the 40s, and like dude, it was so interesting. And like the fact that The English Patient, I wouldn't even put English Patient wouldn't even be on this list. It's so bad.
No,
it's so bad.
That's the worst movie I've seen in a long time.
That's just so bad, man.
The best thing about it, you could say, cinematography, I guess. But other than that, that movie was.
I can pick a year and tell you. Like, I don't think I've seen a movie that deserved Best Picture win in a long time. And that's a thing. That's a thing. Like, maybe since the 70s. And that's just me being, like hyperbolic about it. But yeah. I'm now in the press. Let me do my number one. Not even got to one. Number one, the best was Conan's hosting. He was hilarious. He was picking on people. He was picking on people where it wasn't too vicious, like Ricky Gervais, whom I love. I thought he did great, but I know he was being extra mean. So like, whatever. Celebrities can take it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just thought Conan, he even did a whole song and dance to waste time so people couldn't waste time during their speeches. He wasted time with a complete dance number. Now, to an absurdist, that's hilarious. That is one of the funniest things I could ever see.
Mm-hmm.
A waste time song so you can't waste time when you're giving a speech. That's genius. That's monorail level genius, in my opinion. He wrote that too. So I don't know what to tell you, people. Like, he was great. He was my number one.
That is really smart because
he called Drake a pedophile.
He did.
I didn't. I'm not wired up. I'm saying he did.
He did.
Drake, don't know you, and I don't want any more beef with Canada. But Kendrick, I love you. And then of course my worst was Adrian Brody's Everything. He was just so creepy and skeevy in it. And he still made out with Halle Berry in front of his girlfriend. It was such an awkward time. And dude, I'll be brief. And then he went on for 7 minutes. And before that, he threw his gum at his girlfriend. Andrew Brody, or whatever your name is, Adrian Brody, not Andrew. That was lame. That was really lame. And the Brutalist wasn't that great. So, again, another one.
He kissed Halle Berry, though.
Well, he kissed Halle Berry. Yeah, but he kissed Halle Berry without warning her. And the first time he did it when he won an Oscar back 20 years ago, which was creepy and skeevy enough. And now he's like, fucking... She kissed him, I think, this time. But it's still kind of creepy. Like, his girlfriend was, like, right there.
I wonder if it was pre-planned.
Doubtful. Well, no, the one he kissed Halle Berry with wasn't.
But, I mean, this one here. Just
might have been publicity, but it's stupid. Still, but it's Friday, and you guys listen to my top 5, and you listen to a lot of rants, and I appreciate it.
Hey.
Thank you guys so much. But let's just finish off the mixed movie pick. And this is I'm celebrating women this month, Women's History Month. So I'm picking movies that star strong women.
There you go.
All different types, and I'm going back to the 50s on this one with All About Eve. Betty Davis. It's about an aging starlet who takes on this fan who, like, her biggest fan as an assistant, and slowly but surely it feels like the assistant is trying to take the spotlight and get rid of the aging starlet. Betty Davis is fantastic in this movie. It won Best Picture. It's worth the watch. Go check out All About Eve from 1950. I'm also it's available now. You can go check it out. Snobs Film History. I did one for it, as I always do with the mixed movie picks. And like Sturdy can attest, and we talked about earlier with James Bond, I have been doing classic film reviews for those as well. And right now we are on The World Is Not Enough and Die Another Day. They are both out as well, and you guys can go check them out anytime. And I appreciate it.
Told you.
We're getting ready to go. Sturdy, tell them where they can watch you and where you're at, and who you're fluffing these days.
Well, nobody.
Yeah.
Never have, never will. But I will say this. So I'll be gaming tonight with my nephew and my brother, and then again with my brother later on. So you can catch us over there, Horror with Sir Sturdy, on my YouTube channel. And we're gonna be starting off with some Grand Theft Auto 5, then jumping into some Phasmophobia, and we're gonna try to be brave. We're going to try to be brave grown men, but we'll see how that goes. So hopefully you guys tune in for that and have a good time with us. And then Saturday, we're going to be playing it again late. But 9:00 Eastern time Saturday, we're going to be discussing more Bond. Moonraker and...
For Your Eyes Only.
For Your Eyes Only.
Moonraker, fun.
Yes.
And we'll get into it in like a fun one. And I did all classic film reviews on all these movies. You can go check out all the James Bonds.
Moonraker takes us back to 2 franchises we discussed last year in such a fun way that worked. Oh, I loved it. It's like, you know what it was? Remember how excited I was with the Space Godzilla and with the little ships, and I still want one of those? That's what Moonraker was for me.
I think we can talk about it too, like with Moonraker, what the influences of Star Wars, Star Trek, and Alien.
Yes,
there's things, and it came out in '79, so I think it works. And it was thrown together. Moonraker is a book, but it was thrown together. They weren't going to make it. If you watch The Spy Who Loved Me, at the end it says you'll see James Bond next time, and For Your Eyes Only, and that was supposed to come out next. And it's actually, I think we're actually better for having made Moonraker, because Moonraker, John Glenn served as some sort of supervisor on it. And he was the director of the next 5 James Bonds throughout the 80s. He directed every 80s James Bond movie. So I think Moonraker might have been a happy accident, but it is a movie. And we'll talk about it all tomorrow. We will talk about it.
I had
popcorn points. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I'll probably talk about that fact again and so much more. So make sure you join us. It's over on Popcorn Points. We'll be showing here on the Scene Snobs as well. I share it out, but just got to be there. But like I said to you guys earlier, I appreciate everything. I appreciate all of your support. If you want to go check out our Patreon, you can join up there. I share movie news for the paid subscribers and other perks and stuff like that as well. But if you want to join up for free, we do giveaways. We just did our Beetlejuice popcorn tin. Congratulations, John, for winning that. We appreciate you. And you can follow for free, and you'll get news updates, stuff like that. Sometimes I do a newsletter. I'm a little behind because I've been writing my reviews, but I have a lot of stuff getting ready to come out. So go check us out there. You can follow me on Letterboxd, follow me on Substack. I share opinion pieces and movie reviews on there. Of course, the Scene Snobs. We're here. We're having a good time. We have reviews coming out and more on there in the videos. Classic film reviews have been so much fun. I want to thank you, Sir Sturdy, for coming in, hanging out with me. Paul, I miss you. I can't wait to see you. Dan, I miss you. I can't wait to see you. And we're going to have a good time coming back with that. Make sure you're tuned in to both channels, because it's going to be a lot of fun.
And
what?
I just wanted to say, because the month of March, Women's Appreciation, Women's History, again, Underworld versus Resident Evil, 2 lead strong women. No matter what you feel about the franchises,
yeah, you're right.
Two strong female-led women, or you know what I mean. Films, going through these, having a good time with them. So come on over Thursdays, 8:00 Eastern Time, or 6:30, and shoot the shit with us about these movies. If you love them or you hate them, just have something to say. If you bash them or you love them, you have to have something to say. Don't just be negative. Don't just be positive either.
I'm still trying to convince him to do Hammer Horror versus Universal Monsters. I think that would be a fun franchise for you. But until next time, remember, everybody, take care of yourselves. That is so important. I'm urging you guys with everything. It's very overwhelming right now. My heart goes out to all of you. My immigrant friends who are suffering right now and being put through and are terrified. To my Black friends who are being pushed constantly. The communities are just, the veterans are being attacked. Like the federal workers are being attacked. Like everybody's being attacked, and it's so overwhelming, and everybody's kind of sort of scattered, and the trans community, things like that. Like it's all just been crazy. My heart goes out to you. Empathy is the way. Don't listen to the bad guy from Moonraker, basically. Empathy, compassion, community, caring. That's what's important in life. And it is the most important. And I want to say thank you again for supporting the Scene Snobs, being a part of it, joining in, having a good old time with us. Remember to be kind to yourselves, take care of yourselves, stay classy, and I'll talk to you soon.